if there's a little something in the music in the background, just bear with me. Thank you.
My dad was the best. He was the best brother, the best husband, the best friend, the best family, and the best dad. He was the most devoted husband a wife could have, and the most selfless father a child could have. We'll all miss him deeply, and for a long time to come. But today we are here to be sad, though sadness is going to creep its way in. We're here to celebrate and share memories of a life lived to its fullest. We're here to embrace and rejoice with our family and friends and remember all the adventures over the years. The ridiculous shirts, the ever-changing goofy hat, the hikes that got a little too ambitious, the rum and cokes that questionably contained quote code, and the belly laughs that brought him to tears. He was taken too early, but he left us with more great memories that can be counted in his time. God had a bigger plan for my dad, and I'm okay with it. I'm sure it has to do with some projects past the pearly gates. Whatever project it is, I can guarantee you that at least an hour of every day is looking for lost tools.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high.
I don't really have the words to frame Tom's life in our midst. There's so many stories of his delightful sense of fun and adventure, his zesty appetite for life, whatever it brought. He was just so remarkable. From our kid adventures of riding ornery ponies bareback with twine string bridle getting thrown off, to covering every inch of the pastures at the farm where we gave ourselves the scared shivers when we actually discovered the boulders in the pasture had vampires under them. Later, what a blessing when Tom and Sandy, the dynamic duo, moved to Colorado, nearby, and they were on a motorcycle and whitewater rafting trip when we did that. Who builds a chrome wheelchair carrier on his motorcycle? Who pulls a sleigh in the dark night up on the mesa under the stars and the moon so we can have an adventure and everyone can go? And he pulls Sandy in it through the deep snow. So many camping and ATV jaunts and hours spent playing dominoes that I always lost. And the evidence of his force of life, we're able to gather a huge volume of pictures in a very short time because who didn't want to catch Tom doing something? I mean, it was just the enthusiasm and the goofiness. It went on and on. And you just wanted to mark those moments with the photos. And that showed up as a good thing. And I thank God because who knew his life would go out so soon.
When my wife called me and told me about Tom, takes your breath away. And I don't know if I breathed since, okay? My wife and I have been married for 46 years. She took me back to their family farm, and at that time I was a skinny kid with hair down to here, and went up to, they had a basketball hoop in the barn, top of the block, and I went up there with Tom, Tony, I believe, and Paul. Tom handed me the basketball, and he said, "We're gonna to see what you're made of. And I don't think that ever changed. The thing that I want to express is that there's a big hole right here. There really is. And I don't know if that hole will ever fill in. As we go through life, we deal with people, we meet people, and as much as we try, we judge, right? And I'm gonna judge Tom. He was genuinely a good man.
Someday you wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow.
Thank you for coming here to celebrate Tom. When I'm listening to people and watching the pictures roll in and seeing the notes that are dropped in Facebook and email and text and things like that, when people spoke about Tom, there was 3 words. It was kind, generous, and goofy. And I'd like to add another word, and it was grace. And not the kind of grace that means elegance, because that was not Tom. But Tom's grace was something far deeper. He had a kind of grace of kindness, patience, and forgiveness. Tom's style of grace was more like lines, and we had this saying, and the family will recognize this: good going, Grace. And it was used when somebody did something clumsy or silly, and he would say it with that grin on his face, and really all of a sudden, whatever the mistake had been made, it didn't matter, and it became a joke and a laugh. And that was Tom's gift. He could take any kind of life stumbles and he could turn them into joy. Tom's kindness showed every day. He was a big man with a huge heart. He was always there to help, making sure no one felt left out. His kindness was sincere. It was steady. And it made you feel seen. He was generous in every way, not with just things, but with his time, his attention, his love. If you needed help, Tom was there. And if you needed a laugh, Tom was there. He gave freely without expecting anything in return. And then there was his goofiness. Tom had the confidence of not worrying about what people thought of him or how he would be perceived. He simply laughed at himself and made others feel comfortable laughing along with him. His grace also showed forgiveness. He didn't hold grudges. If you messed up, he'd laugh, maybe give him a little ribbing, and then he would move on. And his forgiveness was lighthearted, never heavy. He taught us relationships matter more than being right, and that humor heals faster than anger. He was the only one who could tell me, "Get that stick out of your ass," when I was too concerned about something trivial or somehow make me laugh about it. Tom was my brother. He was my friend. And along with Sandy, my heroes.
Always there, ready to help with any home improvement projects, usually cussing a good chunk of it. He is what he would call himself a cheap German, because he would never let us pay for a plumber. He had to fix it himself, and we were so grateful for that. My favorite story about him is, I think like a few years into me dating John at the time, he asked if we wanted to go cut down a Christmas tree on the Grand Mesa. And he was an adventurous kind of guy. He would always be ready to take a snowshoeing or any kind of adventure like that. And so we decided we would go up to the Mesa in snowshoes in freezing weather. And it was really cold, and we finally found a tree that we thought we could cut down, and we were incorrect. It was an illegal tree that we cut down. And we didn't just chop down a tree, we cut off the top of it, which you aren't also supposed to do. And so the whole time we're power walking back, trying to drag this giant tree back. And we're freaking out that like, somebody is going to walk in and bust us. And it was just the illegal Christmas tree that we definitely shouldn't have cut down, but we did it anyway. And that was the kind of guy that he was. He was, wait, go right now, go right now. And you know, troublemaker galore. We are all here right now because we are remembering the most wonderfully jovial man.
You know, my parents shipped me off to relatives' house to do farm work. Yep, it was fun. My uncles, they kind of enjoyed it. They kind of wanted to show me how to be a farm girl. So there I am in the morning with Tom and David, maybe Tony, and who knows how to milk cows. Well, back then, you know, you just put the suckers on, we had to clean it. So Tom's like, here, I need you to show you how to milk a cow. And I get up underneath it, I can't get it. So he's like, back away. So then he takes it and he just squirts me again and again.
I have a lot of memories with Tom. When they lived in Watertown, I was probably like 7 years old, and I remember just begging him to let me paint his toenails. And it took some convincing, but I finally got him to do it, and then it just became a regular thing where I would paint Tom's toenails. And we were always into shenanigans and things. And at a Christmas cabin a couple years ago, Tom was like, do you want to try an edible for the first time? And I was like, well, of course, Uncle Tom. He has wisdom, you know? It's probably a good thing. And so we go into their bedroom, and he has them sitting on the bathroom counter. And it was my first time that I saw, like, a bidet. It was my first time I saw a bidet, and I was like, oh, what is that? Because it was next to the toilet. And he was like, oh, that's a bidet, and told me how it worked or whatever. And then he was like, I'll show you how it turns on. We turned it on, and it would not turn off, and there was water spraying everywhere.
I guess when I think of all of my family, you think of little things about them that make them who they are. And when I think of Tom, I was like, you know, I never really saw him really mad ever, or too irritated. If he got frustrated, he would just laugh it off. And he's like the only person that I can really think of that I cannot think of one character flaw. Like, he was the best.
He got me into golfing. I didn't have no golf clubs. I think he gave me like 4 clubs to use. So I did use those, and I was so happy when I went on message board and I bought a set. It had a really nice bag and everything. I showed it to him and said, and I didn't really look at it. I grabbed it, paid the guy, put it in our office, and for the next time we go golfing. And I thought, man, that's a pretty cool bag. I think it's just kind of like sunrod a little bit. It looked more pink. So he went and looked at him. I said, it kind of looks like a girl bag. I said, no, It's not. It's right-handed, and I'm going to use it. The putter had the name Nancy Lopez on it, and it went to heck after that. So. It was a girl's.
It was a girl bag.
He was sure he caught his little brother Tony eating a stick of butter. Tony would always argue back that Dad was in fact the one eating the butter. The two of them have been having that argument for years, neither relenting. I believe that I have the truth of the matter. It was both of them. They were both eating butter.
The word huzzah, it's originated as a sailor's cry when they were heaving the sails. And it seems fitting now with Tom, as much Captain Morgan as he's drank and rum over the years. Over time, it became an exclamation of celebration. So when this gets hard, I need you guys to help me by saying, huzzah! Huzzah! One more time. Huzzah! Husband, father, grandfather, brother, uncle, cousin, mentor, and friend. Giving, generous, selfless, caring, introspective, fun, irreverent, smart ass, gassy, smart, ass. These are just a few words to describe Tom. He was always willing to give of his time and talents to go above and beyond helping friends and family. He always had a quick wit, funny stories, and a willingness to grab a drink and share in any shenanigans you could dream up. Hiking, motorcycle rides, pumpkin raids, golf outings, float trips, snowshoeing, and bark cranes. Tom loved his family fiercely, and he was so proud of his children. He cherished the relationship he had with each of you and agonized over them when they weren't quite right. He was humble that he made you. You shot forth from his loins. He was immensely proud of each of you and the incredible people that you are. He talked of you incessantly and would have gladly sacrificed his life for each of you. And don't even get me started on the grandkids. Every week, a new story, a new video I had to watch. It's exhausting. It was so sweet to see Tom and Sandy interact with the twins and light up when talking about all of them. He would be the first to play games with all the kids in his family to push them face first into a snowbank and beat them in the head with a snowball, push them off a boat into the water, splash them until they would cry mercy. He would play catch with them until it was too dark to see, and create games and give his strength and energy to making everyone around him have a good time. He would play games all day, get down on the floor and crawl. And when he would try to sit down and take a rest, one time his 12-year-old niece once yelled out, 12 years old, "Come on, Tom, don't be a pussy." He jumped right back up and started playing games again. He loved his extended family. He loved his sisters and his brothers. He would travel when they were sick, would open his home when they were hurting, and call to check for no reason. He was involved in meaningful ways in each of their lives. He was present and available to anyone who needed him. Would Tom have wanted us to cry? Yeah. Yeah. But he would wanted us to laugh through the tears. Finally, Tom wasn't always sure about God, if he was real or even existed. But in these last years, Tom was convicted that God is here. And he loved God. And he loved others. And he treated everyone the way that he would want to be treated. Except those dumbasses in traffic that are dumber than a fence post. So through these tears, there's hope. Hope that we will see him again, laugh with him again, and know his love for each of us, and share a drink This is not the end. So cry, laugh, yell at God and ask him why. But today we lift up our glasses, we'll keep him in our hearts and remember all the fun and love and say, until we meet again.
He taught all of us by example to find true joy in the little things. To live life, live it. Embrace the challenges in the path of life, solve issues with determination.
He was a good man, and I loved him, and I'm gonna miss him.
We will miss him very much. I bet we will really like to see all of you today.
He was just full of life and love and people first.
If you are here today, your life was in some way touched by Tom and or Sandy, and it is richer from it.
I think we all want to be like Tom. So I feel the best way to show appreciation for his gifts that he gave us is to be like Tom. Love you forever, brother.
Dad wouldn't want us to be sad. He'd want a party. So, with joy in our hearts, let's remember the man, the myth, and the bad influence, Papa Tom.
Let us remember that there was more joy in our life than grief, and that we will forever miss him, as he was an amazing father and grandfather and friend to everybody here. So, to Tom.
To Tom.
He liked to laugh.
We love him.